Welcome back to another episode of Shit That Goes On in Our Heads. Season 2, Episode 5. We take some time to welcome back to the States our one and only G-Rex. G-Rex, we're so happy to have you back. How's your trip?
Oh my God, our trip was amazing. I'm still jet lagged. I don't know what day of the week it is. I don't know what time zone I'm in. Thank God I'm semi-retired, sabbatical. I can nap whenever I want to. It was a fantastic trip. A couple of things happened while we were gone. That kind of put a damper on the trip, but made us realize why we took the trip. So we had I have a friend of mine whose 37-year-old daughter died of a massive heart attack while we were gone, like totally unexpected. And then we had another friend that was killed in a head-on crash by a drunk driver.
Wow.
So, two things that really made us realize like why we do this, right? Why we decided to travel, why, life is really short. So you just need to kind of like grab it by the horns and just go with it. So the trip itself was amazing. And yeah, we went a little bougie, right? We went business class, but we saved for years to go on this trip. COVID screwed us up so bad. We were supposed to do this in 2020, but COVID came about. We moved. There was a bunch of other shit that happened, and we went through a company called True Trips, and they planned our entire trip for us. And the best part of this trip is it was private drivers the entire time, right? And they picked us up in like bougie, like Mercedes-Benz, the entire trip.
Wow. Did they help with flights, or did you have to cover?
So we had to book our flights from the States to Paris, and then from Athens back to the States. But they booked all the travel in country for us. So we went from Paris to Florence, Florence to Athens, and then Athens to Mykonos and Santorini.
So I'm an anxious traveler, so I'm really interested in your trip. So taking a step back, what time did you fly out?
So we flew out of Syracuse, and our flight left at like 11 in the morning, and then we had a 5-hour layover in Newark.
What do you do for 5 hours?
You drink and eat. Okay,
so I do remember you love to drink, especially when you're on a vacation. So comparing it to your New York trip, what time did you start with a cocktail this go around?
Not until about 2-ish.
That's good.
Yeah, because we had a lot to eat, right? So we ate a good meal before we left to go to the airport. And then once we got to Newark, we had a really good meal. And then we knew we were flying business class, so they were going to feed us on the plane. We really tempered down our drinking because one of the problems about flying a really long time is it really affects jet lag, and it also makes your ankles swell a whole lot. So being able to like lay down during this trip made a huge difference for me for two reasons. One, you're going to laugh because my feet, when I sit in the seat, they don't touch the floor, right? So
surprise.
They're like little dangling little twigs. And number two, it helped with my jet lag a little bit because I was able to sleep comfortably on the plane.
Okay.
So then we get into Charles de Gaulle. It's like 7:30 in the morning. I am like, where the hell am I? What time is it? And it was cold. So funny story, when we're in Charles de Gaulle, they don't really give you instructions on where to go pick up your luggage, right? The signage is very confusing. So we get through customs, right? We walk out. We're looking for our driver. Well, now we don't have our luggage. So now I need to figure out how to get our luggage. So I ended up having to go down this little hallway, talk to a guy like on a little call box, and I'm like, I need to get my luggage. And then this lady on the other end of it's like yelling at me. She's like, why didn't you get your luggage the first time? I'm like, well, because like your signage sucks. Okay. Maybe put it in English. I don't know.
Where
So,
where is this place?
France,
Oh, okay.
In Paris.
Gotcha.
So when we landed in Paris, that's where I didn't pick up our luggage. We were a little stressed out, but we were a little tired and a little hungry, right? So we worked it out. Two Americans in Paris. I speak like 3 words of French. My wife can speak a little bit of French, but we were able to find like an American speaking information agent, and they helped us out. Got our luggage. Our driver picked us up, and we weren't sure if we were going to be able to check in right away because typically hotels don't let you check in until like 3, 4 in the afternoon. So we got to the hotel. They checked us right in. We got a room. We took like a 2-hour power nap, and then went for a little walk. We found out there was a grocery store not too far from our hotel. Able to, get some French pastries and some wine, some champagne, all the typical things you need to have in your hotel room. And then the days after that, so we were in Paris for 5 days. We did a tour of the Louvre. It, like, barely scratched the surface, but it was so beautiful. And I definitely want to go back because there were parts of the Louvre that I didn't get to see. We did a tour of Paris, and I actually got to repropose to my wife.
I love that.
It was absolutely awesome. She couldn't figure out why I kept asking her to take her coat off because it was a little cold the day that it happened.
And why did you want to take
take your coat off? Just take it off. Was it for
pictures?
Minutes.
Or why?
Yes. So I wanted to do it for pictures. But the funny thing is that anybody that knows me, I have a hard time bending down. I couldn't get all the way down onto one knee.
There's too many jokes
number
here.
One, I was laughing. Number two, my wife was laughing. But like, I got her a really nice necklace, and she was super surprised. It was like the biggest secret I've ever kept from her in 28 years. But it was right in front of the Eiffel Tower. And so to me, it was like the perfect place in the city of love. And then we did a tour of the Champagne region in Reims and Epernay. And my suggestion to anybody that travels to Paris is take that train ride. We took a private car, but you can take a train for about an hour. It takes you out into the Champagne region. Number one, it's beautiful. Number two, these smaller champagne houses really need your money, right? Because they don't ship internationally. They create their champagnes to serve to their local community. And it was some of the best champagne I've ever had.
Ooh, nice.
So then after that, we flew to Florence, and I fell in love with Florence. It was stunning. It was probably the cleanest food I've ever eaten in my entire life.
When you say clean, what do you mean?
Not full of a lot of additives or like the wines are full of sulfites. For me, I have a hard time drinking red wine because of the sulfites.
Yeah.
But this wine was clean and beautifully prepared, a little hilly. So like if you're not into like hills, maybe get on the treadmill, 5 days a week for about a month before you go, so you can get acclimated because you are at altitude. We had an amazing tour guide in Florence that we got to go see the Statue of David. And it leaves you in awe. These are works of art that were done in like the 1600s. And just to see the amount of effort that they put into these works of art, it blew my mind away. And the food, it was so good.
Mm-hmm.
So good. I'm going to tell you, we probably walked every day, at least 8 miles a day.
Yeah. You look a little thinner.
Yeah, I weighed myself in the hotel where were we? In Greece, and I'm down to like 162.
Nice.
Like, don't ask me how that happened, because I literally drank and ate every single day, and not like light meals. The Europeans eat really heavy meals, and they eat for a long time. So like they have an appetizer, and then they have a first course, and they have a second course, and they have a third course, and they all eat dessert. Like how they stay so thin, I have no idea. But I I stayed thin.
Maybe it's
And then
the cleaner food.
cleaner food, like, and just really, really nice people. Like, they knew we were American, right? I don't know any Italian. My wife doesn't know any Italian. We tried. We used our translators on our phones, but like very accommodating and very welcoming, and we're happy to have tourists because COVID kind of screwed everybody up.
Yeah.
And one of the other we had two really cool experiences when we were in Tuscany. So we did a cooking class at one of the local wineries. It was amazing. So we had a translator and then a true like Italian chef, and she walked us through. We made rolled up chicken with like kale and eggs and prosciutto ham, and we made tagliatelle with sausage and tomatoes. It was so good. Amazing dessert. And they catered to us. They catered because my wife is gluten-free and really made the experience like, if you want to reconnect with your loved one, that's the way to do it, because you have to communicate, right? You have to be able to talk to each other and laugh. And like the best part of the trip was spending that time with my wife uninterrupted, right? Like I didn't have any outside influences. I didn't have TV. I didn't have my phone. I had my phone with me, but because we're on an international plan, they only give you limited amount of data. And so we always had it on airplane mode. But being able to like spend that time, like live your life, enjoy it, enjoy the fuck out of it. Because I'm telling you, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen tonight. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know what's going to happen a week from now. Like, I'm sorry that we waited this long to do stuff like this, but it was such a memorable trip. Like, we took amazing pictures. I was so fortunate that we saw a full moon while we were in Italy, and I got these really amazing pictures of the moonrise. And then another picture of, I was in an archway at the hotel, and I caught this perfect shot, like, and it was just on a whim. And being able to do that. And then our last day in Florence, we went to the Chianti region, and we did a pairing with a guy. He was probably in his late 70s, and his specialty is balsamic. He had a 30-year-old balsamic made with honey and apples.
Oh, yum.
And we had it over ice cream. It was the most delicious thing I've ever eaten in my life. It like melted in my mouth.
So you're saying you can't get that in the States?
You
can't just go to like Publix and get some balsamic and pour it on.
No, like this balsamic, like it is the original. Like, no additives, no nothing. We have a lot of wine and champagne being shipped back here to the States.
Nice.
We did end up having to buy a bag in it's either Siena or one of the other smaller villages we went to. Anyways, we had bought a bunch of wine, right? Didn't have enough room in our luggage because we just gonna pack some small bags, right? And we bought a larger bag, but it was already full of stuff that we had bought in Paris. So in this little town we were in, they didn't really have a luggage store. There was an Italian leather luggage store, right?
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So my wife sends me to go buy a bag. Okay, number one, don't send me by myself.
What have you done?
Okay.
Just confess.
So I ended up buying a $300 Italian leather bag, right?
Do you remember
had wheels on it.
What the company was or the name of the place?
No, but in our show notes, I can. I have the card.
I'm just curious. I have a friend that went and was looking at leather-made goods, and I don't remember if they bought one or they really wanted it, but it was too much. I'm curious if it's the same place.
Yeah, it was probably, it was too much, but, beggars can't be choosers, and we really needed the bag to even out our...
G-Rex.
even out our luggage because, it was heavy, right? And um,
Can you please just tell me what your wife thought when you brought that back?
well, thank God she had a couple of beverages, adult beverages, before I told her, so it was okay. But she also felt bad because this region that we were in was really hilly, right? So I had walked like 3 miles back to go look at this luggage store and then 3 miles back to her. So it was like 6 miles of all this hilly, and it was hot in Italy. Like it was 80 the day we were there.
Wow.
So, yeah, I tell her, and she was silent for about maybe 5 minutes. But I was very thankful that she'd had a little bit to drink, so it was okay. It turned out to be, okay, it's a beautiful bag.
I was like, tell me you didn't lose the bag. It didn't break. You didn't leave it behind. You have the bag.
No, dude, that thing's like worth gold right
I was
now,
going to say.
right? Because, so here's the funny thing. When I was buying the bag, anybody knows me, I just happen to get along really well with a lot of different people, right?
Wow.
So I walk into the store, and it was a lesbian-owned store.
Oh.
And they wanted $500 for this bag. I talked them down to $300.
Nice.
Just because I'm cute and sweet, and
Oh Lord.
I use my
Are you
customer
rubbing your
service
chest while
voice.
you tell me this?
Huh?
It's like, are you rubbing your chest as you tell me? Nobody else can see you, but I can see you. It's making me uncomfortable.
I'm rubbing above my chest, your asshole.
All right, so you walked into the store.
Fuck you.
You're like, I'm here for a bag. Look at how sweet and cute and innocent I am. Please give it to me for $300.
Well, and if I had cash, we could have bargained it down like to $200, but I didn't have 200 euros on me, so I was able to talk them down to $300. And then I had to like hike all the fucking way back to my wife. And I passed like this really famous gelato store there, but I didn't have time to stop because our driver was going to be waiting for us down on the other side of this little village. So get back down. I talked to her. I'm like, look what I bought. And she's like, like the look in her eyes. She's like, you spent how much? I'm like, okay, whatever. You know what?
I thought you were going to say you didn't get gelato because you didn't have any more money after you spent the money on the bag.
I had cash. So we leave Florence and we took a train from Florence to Rome. If you really want to see the Italian countryside, take a train. It was beautiful. The problem is, though, is that they don't help you with your luggage. And every piece of luggage we had weighed probably 20, 30 pounds, right? So
how many pieces did you have?
We had we had 4 pieces of luggage.
Oh.
Yeah, a gigantic suitcase, 2 little suitcases, and the $300 bag I bought in Italy. Every single bag had
Leave everything else behind, but bring the bag.
Bring the bag. Maybe leave your shoes and your dirty underwear behind. So we get into Rome, and we had to go from Rome, the train depot in Rome, to the airport in Rome to fly over to Athens. Well, our flight was, everything that day was delayed. But you know what? At this point, we'd already had a really nice time in Paris. We'd had a really nice time in Florence. We were drinking, kind of chillaxed, and, everything worked out. So we get into Athens like really late, like at 10:30 at night, and got into our hotel room. It was a beautiful hotel room right in downtown Athens. Unfortunately, we only got to experience it for about 6 hours because the very next day we had a 7:30 tour to do the Acropolis and a city tour of Athens. If you ever get a chance in your lifetime, do it. It is history that's never going to go away. They have archaeologists there. They're constantly like rebuilding, reinforcing it, taking off the antiquities and putting it. They have a new museum in Athens for these antiquities and all the statues. Unfortunately, we didn't have time to visit it because we had a mid-morning flight to Mykonos, but it's definitely another place I want to go back to. So Florence and definitely Athens, two places I want to go back to. Such a beautiful city, a little crowded, but like so much history. Like we got to see the original stadium where they held the Olympics.
Wow.
The towers of Zeus. It's stunning, right? It's not history that we learned here in the U.S., but it made me, like, the whole trip really made me think about history as I had known it and what I had learned. I learned something historical every single day that I was there.
Awesome.
And then after Athens, we flew to Mykonos. If you're going to go to Mykonos, here's my suggestion. Don't go in May because it's windy as hell and cold as hell. So we did not have enough warm clothing with us. So we actually had to buy a sweatshirt while we were there. Thank God I had my sweats because, I was leaving upstate New York and it was cold the day we left. But enjoy the island. It's really beautiful. It's a little less crowded than Santorini. But they have a place that's called Mykonos Town. And one of the things is if you're not able to walk or kind of get around, like mobility wise, work with a travel agent because they can actually get you into town. For us, we had to walk from the bus stop down into town. But it's really cool. All these little shops, and we ate at a really good restaurant, and the food and the Greek wine, and it, just beautiful, but really, really cold. So for the 4 days we were in Mykonos, we spent a good part of it in the hotel room because it was really cold. Mm. They say the best time to go to Mykonos is in September. September through mid-October, the winds die down, and the Aegean Ocean actually warms up because it's had all summer to warm up. Very cool. So then from there, we went to Santorini. Santorini is beautiful, super hilly. Another place, like if you have mobility issues, like work with a travel agent to make sure that they can get you accommodations that are on the top of the hill so you don't end up walking down 100 stairs. The accommodations they gave us, we had to walk down 100 stairs to get to where we stayed.
Wow.
And make sure it's not a dated hotel. The hotel where they put us in was really dated, but just the view. Like I got some spectacular photos. What do you call it? Sunset pictures. Our last night there, it was raining, and I just happened to walk outside, and I caught a spectacular sunset. Like the red sun going behind the white buildings. It was fabulous. But coming home, it was the longest flight of my life. No, second longest. It was 11 hours, and it was turbulent coming home.
Ooh, that's brutal.
So my other travel suggestion is if you're going to fly internationally, get global entry. Because if we hadn't had global entry, we would have missed our flight.
Wow.
When we came in, there were 3 other international flights that came in at the same time. And the line at customs was insane.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine.
But like I said, we're still super jet lagged, but I'm not working right now, so I can nap when I want to. I can drink when I want to.
What was Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, what was like, when you look at your trip as a whole, what are your favorite memories, or what was your favorite thing that you did that you're happy you went for?
I have 2 or 3. Number 1 was spending time with my wife, right? It was 18 days of just being with her and experiencing this with her and seeing the cities through like a kid's eyes. She'd been to Europe before. I'd never been. So I was amazed at everything I saw and touched and the history. The second favorite thing was doing the cooking class with her. That was so much fun. And we learned so many new techniques and how to make homemade pasta and local foods. And then I think the third thing was the island cruise we done around Santorini. We happened to catch really calm seas that day. And I got some really spectacular shots of my wife and I, and just the history, meeting new people. I highly recommend it. Like, don't put this shit off, man.
Was there anything that you could have done without?
Yeah, the added bullshit of luggage that we brought with us. Like so while we're over there, we found an article. It's hacking like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna have to read more into that. But we brought like too many shoes, too many pairs of pants, not enough warm weather gear. But just really slimming down on our packing, so we didn't have to buy a $300 bag in Italy. I think the other thing too is go without any expectations, right? Go and even when things don't work out, be grateful that you had that experience. And that's something that I learned once we got to Santorini, because I wasn't really happy with our accommodations. And I had to sit there and do a mantra of like, be grateful, be grateful, be grateful, because not everything's going to work out. And, live the hell out of life. That, to me, like I said, I'm sorry we waited so long to do this. But, we already have plans to go to Canada in June. We're going back to Canada in July. In August, we're going to Rhode Island. In September, we may go to Hawaii.
Where are you going in Rhode Island?
I have friends that live in Rhode Island.
What part of Rhode Island?
Newport.
Oh, okay. That's
why?
acceptable.
Where'd you think we were going?
I grew up in Rhode Island, so I thought you were gonna say. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude. That's why I was like, ew, why is that on your list of places to go?
Because I have really dear friends there that I want to see.
Also, Newport. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. And then maybe Hawaii in September. In November, I'm going to be back in Atlanta. And for Christmas time, we'll probably just stay home.
Cool. But
loving life, man.
I love that. I wish I need to let go of the anxiety and travel more, which probably not this year, but I'm getting very serious about going to Greece next year.
So like I said, if you're going to do Greece, I would do like, there's an island cruise you can do, and then you hit like each of the different islands.
Yeah.
And you're on a ship, right? So you're not having to get on a plane and, pack up all your crap and move. We had met a couple of people that were on Greek cruises, and, they stop in port for like 3 or 4 hours. One of the things that, if you do get a chance, I would go to Florence, and the balsamic and olive oils there, hands down, better than anything you'll get here in the States.
Did you bring any home?
It's being shipped. It'll be here in a couple of weeks.
So when you get it, you're going to make your wife pasta? Now that you're a pro? Love that.
Yeah, we're going to make it tonight, but we don't have, we're missing some ingredients. So the other thing we did in France is we ate a ton of escargot.
Oh, I don't like escargot. Our producer, Bizzle, he loves it, but I can't get into it. It's a texture thing.
He needs to come to my house, and we'll make him the best escargot he's ever had.
Send him out back.
And
have him collect
we could
dinner.
do it for you, so you would like it too.
Ugh, I don't know.
If I give you a shot of tequila, will you do it? Oh, well, we made gluten-free pasta, which was amazing.
Sign me up.
Yeah, you could come up here, make pastries. I'll make you gluten-free pasta. But like I said, it was a trip of a lifetime. And now I kind of have the travel bug. We've kind of decided that going forward, any trip over 4 hours is going to be business or first class.
Bougie.
As you get older, it's just harder to like move around and like recover after really long flights. And it was funny, not funny, but very touching. When I got home, there was a packed chair for my brother. and it was an engraved bottle of Blanton's bourbon, and it touched me in such a way. I literally cried for like an hour. But going through this experience and being retired and seeing life through my wife's eyes, because she's been retired for 11 years. So just being able to experience that with her now and spend that time with her and make new memories, to me, it's priceless.
It's okay to be not okay. Just make sure you're talking to someone. You said you saw Michelangelo's David?
I did. We sized it up. I will post. So when
I didn't even have to ask you. You knew where I was going.
When I posted, when we post our show notes, I will post a picture of Michelangelo and David.
And little David?
It's not little.
Okay? Oh, okay. I'm pretty sure you sent me a text.
It's the size of my forearm. Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay. Bizzle, you might have to cut all of this out. I don't know how appropriate this is to be talking.
He's tall, right? So like you can't touch it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what to say to that.
I can't.
Didn't you send me a message? You were like, it's David's like little or something. You sent me some text and I was like, have you been drinking?
His little pickle?
Yeah, that's what you called it, his little pickle. But now you're saying it's the size of a forearm.
Well, how big's my forearm? How big am I?
Bro.
Okay, that's probably 6 inches.
Okay, so there ain't nothing wrong with 6.
I don't know. I don't do men, so I don't know.
Fair enough.